Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Faces of Revere, Comcast, KBLE TV, the Grade 8. My name's Mikey Casoli, and I'm your host for this evening. Tonight, we have with us a very special guest. He is the only Boston BB, Rocky Raymond, undisputed New England heavyweight champion in wrestling. Rock, glad that, and the baby boy, by the way, of Ann Raymond.
Yeah,
glad to have you aboard. and in case anybody wants to know, Ann Raymond is his mother. So anyway, he was the undisputed champion, heavyweight champion in New England, and he is also, his belt was retired in 1993. Rock, if I may ask you, what is the reason for a belt being retired? And that there, we're talking 11 years ago.
Absolutely. Well, basically, you got to understand professional wrestling as being as what it is now and what it was then. There was a lot of territories in the area, in the New England area. You'd have Albuquerque, New Mexico, Detroit, Florida, NWA, the real NWA, not the, the imitating NWA that's locally, as well as the one down in Tennessee now. It's on cable TV. But we also had many, many areas to travel. But New England was an area where you might have remembered Jack Witchy's Sports Arena up in North Attleboro, all the small things. But the reason is that when the territory breaks up, there's no more territory. It becomes monopolized, like WWE, if you will. Was better known back in the day as the WWWF, the Worldwide Wrestling Federation. So when they said worldwide, there was a lot of areas that you could travel to. You go to different areas. Now there's only one place you can go, and that's to the WWE, which is the only real professional wrestling league around that's really thriving right now. Anyone that's just, they're just floating around like these people that, Ring Ding of Honor, those ring dings, and you got these other ones, Chaotic, and they're all doing this thing. But there's a lot of things in this world you got to stay away from, and one of them is, when I grew up, it was don't bother old people and don't mess with little kids. If you get my drift. I mean,
yeah, I get your drift. And let me tell you, that's a good philosophy. Is this the championship belt, Rock?
That's the oldest section New England championship belt. That is not a replica belt. There's never been a belt copied like that. Like, in the magazines, they got the WWE belt. Everyone can buy a WWE belt. This is a one-of-a-kind belt. It's a one-shot deal. We went around many areas. You remember Gypsy Joe?
Yes.
Killer Kowalski?
Oh.
The real pioneers of wrestling.
The real wrestlers.
The pioneers. This guy hit you with a shot, you'd know.
Yeah, we're going to get to that.
You'd wake up in the morning, you'd know you were in a wrestling match. Now, it's more acrobatics. It's, the Lucha Libre style of wrestling. The Hurricane is the, the somersaults, all this stuff. But there's no longevity. You look at these people today that can see it, compared to the longevity of a professional wrestler like Bruno Sammartino, the living legend.
Yes, I remember
from Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
He wrestled for many, many years because they protected their bodies. They wrestled in, it was a wrestling match. It wasn't a cartoon, if you will, going back and forth. This one's over here, that one's over here. By the time you get done watching it now, you don't know what to watch. There's no.
There was a guy, if I remember, Rock, from East Boston, Scapa.
Yeah, Frank Scarpa. They named a bridge after him.
Wasn't he a U.S. champion?
Oh yeah, he traveled with Gypsy Joe down the circuits. Like I said, there's many places to go and wrestle back in the day. You could go just about anywhere. There's many different territories, different promoters, different bookers, different areas that you can go. You go down to Florida and wrestle NWA. You can go to Charlotte, wrestle for the Crockett's. You can go to Detroit, wrestle for the Sheik, Bobo Brazil up in that area. You can go down in Arizona. You can go to Roy Shaw in California. You go here, you go there. Now there's nowhere to go. There's 1,000 more guys that want to be professional wrestlers. They buy a pair of boots, they buy a pair of tights, and they think they're just going to get into the ring. You get into a ring with a guy like Killer Kowalski, like I've mentioned many times, Killer Kowalski. Of course, I'm half Lithuanian. Now, don't say Polak, because there's a difference between Polak and Lithuanian. I'm Lithuanian.
I don't say Polak because I went with a young lady and I had to say Polish.
Well, that's good. But see, that's the slang. You got to understand. I come from Shirley Ave.
Yeah. I know that.
Often imitated but never duplicated, right here.
I can, yeah. And you alluded to the fact that you remember when I was walking her out there.
Absolutely. That's when cops were cops.
Right. One of the reasons I got you on here because you made a remark last time and you said two good-looking guys.
Absolutely. We come back from the Caribbean. We've been hipping and hoping. You know, I tell you, if my mother's alive, I'd hook her up with you. You know, something. I know you still got some whipping. You know, you're still whipping around. I know you used to ride that motorcycle quite frequently.
Yeah, you remember that.
Oh, you got the vibration going on.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of girls like to ride motorcycles. You know.
Oh, they sure do.
Absolutely.
We used to have the buddy seat then, you know, the big leather seat there. And
The bada bing seat.
Yeah, the bada bing.
The bada bing.
Yeah. That was one shot. It's not like one high now and one low. It was one low seat.
Well, don't start with the high-low, because basically I don't like motorcycles. You know why? Because of the legs.
Yeah.
And the driving.
Well, I can attest to that.
And, you know.
Believe me, it ruined a lifetime for me.
Plus, we're leaders. We're not followers. That's why we're often imitated but never duplicated.
Yeah.
They all know us already.
You know, I was thinking that you were tag team champions with one of the strongest men in the world. I guess his name was Ted Arcidi.
Yeah, Ted Arcidi was the Greek guy. He was a very, he's very, very strong. He was in the World Book. 705 on the bench, legitimately. Back in the day, I mean, this goes back, a few 15 years ago. Now you got these guys that are on the anabolic steroids and the Vanderbilt and all this stuff. That we're going to get into that about, we get into the drug situation, But this man was basically, I'm not going to say he wasn't doing some kind of help or something, but I've traveled with all the big names that have admitted to it on national TV with Vince McMahon, superstar Billy Graham.
Yes.
As well as, Bruno Sammartino didn't like the situation with the anabolic steroids and the sports. As well as guys like, you go on and on, Ivan Putski, Polish Power, he was all built up. But, they're walking medicine cabinets, you know what I mean? I mean, basically, they can't, a lot, people understand that the longevity of it just gets cut off. I mean, you're going to look fine for a while, 10, 15 good years, but then what do you do in the latter stages of your life when your skin starts falling off like, like the skin on a turkey on Thanksgiving? That's what happens. Because steroids, it's all fluid. If you're big bone, you're big bone. If you're not, you're not.
You saying this man, Ted Arcidi, was the strongest man, that he bench pressed 705 pounds?
705 on the bench. It's in the book. It's in the Guinness Book of World Records. The Guinness Book of World Records. Yes, absolutely. It's in the book, and basically they did some kind of, as they say in the business, a gimmick with the bench press back in the day with, I believe the strongest, Dino Bravo, when he dyed his hair blonde, became, the other strong man. But they, they put the plastic weights on there and said it was 800 pounds to outdo Ted Arcidi because he had 705. So they were just shooting an angle, if you will. You know what I mean? Trying to, do it in a different way. When
you said the blonde hair, you kind of took me back. I can remember a guy. I know you'd know him naturally. And all the Gorgeous George.
Oh, Gorgeous George, the man.
Come in with the big robes and the sequins and a big show.
Yeah, he was.
Was he a real wrestler?
Absolutely. Anyone that gets in the ring, and back in the days, in the encyclopedia, he made some big money. He was one of the first professional people to make over $1 million back in the day. $1 million got stretched a lot further than it does today.
Oh, that's for sure.
I mean, you're lucky me and you are single. Is that correct?
Yeah.
So we don't have to worry about that, do we? Well, maybe I do. I don't know. But I mean, basically, with guys like us, we can,
Yeah. You're a Revere High School graduate. And that's when you got into wrestling, and you had said something, you and I were talking earlier, you had said something that you wanted to start some wrestling in the school and stuff.
No, I was talking to you about the last year of high school. I was fortunate enough to train with one of your old pals from the Avenue there, Rubber Bob Russell.
Rebel Bob Russell.
Rubber, he showed me a couple of amateur moves back in the day. I mean, being, the young kid that I was, this man was a very experienced man. Let's put it this way, he still had the wool wrestling tights, not, the good stuff. I mean, now they have the spandex, but now he had wool tights, and he knew some great amateur moves, and you had a couple of tangles in Paris with him.
I sure did, down Schwartz's. And let me tell you something, you wouldn't want a guy like that to get his hands on you, but I had to sweet talk him. Now, I can use my dukes all right, but, I never used a club on a man. I never believed in that, especially a man drinking. I wouldn't do that.
Well, yeah,
I couldn't do that. I would
some of these things that
afraid I'd damage him, brain-wise. I wouldn't do a thing like that.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Gang up on because there's 2 or 3, but you got to pronounce that word, Schwarzes. You got to kabitz. You got to know like you're talking from Shirley Avenue.
Yeah, well, you ought to know.
Back in the day.
You lived there.
Now, do you know what the babki is?
A babki.
A babki.
Yeah.
How about a flat roll?
A flat roll. I used
Babki
to,
is cinnamon and raisin.
yeah, I used to
It's that
stop.
cinnamon and raisin. Cameraman, zoom in.
Yeah.
Zoom in on the most handsome man in Revere. Often imitated but never duplicated. Right here with Just Say No to Drugs. Right here, the faces of Revere. Look at these two faces. How can you go wrong?
Boy, you're a good PR man, that's for sure.
Pepsi's looking for some people to sell Pepsi, but I went to
Yeah.
Coke.
Listen to me. I wanted to ask you, I know you had an encounter with Killer Kowalski.
Oh,
And
my
I mean,
good
I
God.
know him. I used to talk to him and everything. This guy's got to be in his 80s now, to say the least.
Well,
He's a
pretty close
giant.
up
He's
there. Oh,
he's
yeah.
got to be
Oh,
6'8".
Oh, yeah, he's a
But
good
you
guy.
had an encounter with him in your young part
Oh,
of
yeah.
your career.
Yeah, I wrestled all the big names back. I wrestled all the real wrestlers, the San Martinos, the Kowalskis.
Yeah, but tell me
The
about
American Dream,
Kowalski.
Dusty Rhodes with the bionic elbow. But Killer Kowalski is a legend because, I don't know, not too many people may know the story, maybe in Boston, when Pepper Gomez, he had the iron stomach and he had, he couldn't put the claw on him and they were doing a thing with the claw. But back in the day, they put a big ladder up in the middle of the ring and they put Kowalski on the top of the ladder and Pepper Gomez says, "You're not going to hurt me because I got an iron stomach." So Kowalski came down, he jumped across his throat with his leg. They had to shut the lights out and bring him back to his restaurant to cause a riot. I don't know if it was the Boston Arena then or it was the Boston Garden. I'm not a Jersey boy, but I can say Garden like I'm from Jersey.
Yeah.
But I wrestled him when I was 21 years old, and I tell you, he is known as the king of endurance because till this day, he's a vegetarian. And he never really trained with the heavy weights. He did the isometric training because he had the long tendons, the long structural muscle. And if you see any of his older pictures, matter of fact, I brought a picture from Fenway Park, but I left it over there on the side, when he wrestled Bruno Sammartino in Fenway Park. And it was one of the first times that they ever, and the only time they had professional wrestling in Fenway Park, when Kowalski got hit with the chair, or, coming into the ring, and it was back in the day where they hit you with the chair one time, and one time only. You know why? Because they hit you with the chair, and they hit you with it now, but 5, 6, 7 times, I mean, come on.
And it was real wood, not balsa.
Well, no,
Yeah.
it's not the balsa. They do the steel chairs. Don't you worry about it. These kids do the thing. But this particular picture here, is basically at Fenway Park with the, I don't get the glare out, there's a glare out of it, tip it, tap it, snip it and snap it. There it is right there, Fenway Park, Bruno Sammartino, there's a little, get the, you know how to tip it. And Sammartino hit the Kowalski right up there with the chair. You can't see the writing on there, but you can tell he's, I don't know if he's Lithuanian or he's Polish, but basically it says R-O-C-K-I-E. But anyways, he was a great wrestler.
Yeah, but he was like 6'8".
Oh, he was,
I mean,
he was,
you had to
unbelievable.
look
He was
up
the
with
king
it.
of endurance. But
He
anyways,
was down here a couple of
I
times.
luckily won the match because he got disqualified. He hit me off the back of the head with the timekeeper's bell. And I still have nightmares about it now.
Rock, how old was he then when you wrestled?
Well, I was 21 back in the day. So I really, that math, I don't want to go there because I start thinking how old I am now. And I can tell you right now, I can't go on any amusement park rides.
Yeah.
But he was probably, I would say he was in his late 50s, but he was still
Still
he
a
was still like a
powerhouse.
jack in a box.
Yeah, he could
Well,
move around good too.
He's still in good. I mean, you look at him. I mean, the guy. You take care of your body. Your body is your dome. It's just like these kids today. Whatever you put into your body and what you think you're doing for the particular night that you might be doing it, it's going to result into long-term problems. It's going to result into an addiction. It's going to result into whatever. But with Kowalski, he never did any drugs. These wrestlers that do the steroids and this and that, and then they party after the shows or what have you, and they end up dead. A lot of wrestlers are showing up dead lately.
Yeah.
A lot of dead wrestlers.
Well, you made a point there when you said that Kowalski was a vegetarian.
Oh, yeah.
And the point was him being so big, large men usually don't live as long as he does. And it had to be the reason, like you said, a vegetarian. He must have watched his diet, no drugs, and I don't care what anybody says, steroids or any of them, are they going to get to you and they're going to destroy your main organs in your body.
Oh, yeah,
That's
absolutely.
a known fact. I have the book on that.
Absolutely. Well,
And what can you tell some of these young people about drugs, seeing we started that?
I
like to get a little bit of that
say
in.
basically that the kids need to stay in sports, not at courts. They need to get more hugs and less drugs. And basically, the thing is that these parents today, they got to be fortunate that their kids aren't down there in, in the war in Iraq and the problems and getting sniped at. Be glad that your kids are at home. And the kids that are at home, don't harass them. I mean, you're lucky that you're family oriented. You got family to go home to every day. Look at these kids that they're out there 18, 19 years old and they're committing suicide. A lot of the papers up here in the area, they don't report all this stuff. But there's been a couple of suicides, as you well know, as the kids down there. And, with the peer pressure, same thing with drugs. If you're with people that are doing drugs, stay away from them because you know why? They're just looking for someone else to enjoy their misery with.
Yeah.
And that's the whole problem, with the situation. And a lot of people, they do it to hide pain. They do drugs to get by the pain.
Yeah.
Forget about the pain. Get motivated.
Yeah.
Move your bones. Pick up the phones. Do what you got to do. If you see these people in your neighborhood, pick up the phone. Call the drug. Call the who you got to call.
Yeah.
A lot of parents today. There's 2 parents in the house. They say the period of time, it's the worst period of time for a kid is from the time they get out of school to the parents come home from work. You know why? Because that's their playtime.
Yeah.
Then they got to check in and do it. And look at the things that are out there in the street now. It's not just a little Mary Jane, if you will. We're going to go way back to the old. I mean, it's not just a little Mary Jane. They got this, that, this, and before you know it.
Yeah.
You got girls that'll go for this, for that, this for this, guys that are doing this for that. Before you know it, it takes you down a road longer than you want to stay, and you definitely don't want to be there. These crazy people you come across, people kidnapping kids. Girls, this one here gets tied up, and you hear the news. It shouldn't be called news. It should be called bad news.
Oh, I agree with you on that. That's been my war cry for well over 40 years, as you know. And I mean, I will continue that on. And all it is destroying, and one person that gets himself involved in drugs can destroy a whole family that loves them.
Well, something. You're absolutely right because I mean, I'm not gonna be a hypocrite. I mean, you got to keep your friends close.
Yeah.
You got to keep your enemies closer.
Yeah.
And you got to keep your eyes open. And no matter where you go, if you're in a nightlife person, I mean, I'm through that now. I like to stay home and watch, that latest Disney movie that come out with the fish. What was that one called? Gary, give me a hand back there. Gary's my backup. He helps in everything I do. I can't do nothing around here without Gary. But anything, basically, with Elmo. I got it, Elmo. I'd rather be home watching Elmo than staying in, but I'm at the point now where I rather just want to stay in. You go out there now, there's nothing out there waiting for you but trouble. And look what's in this country now. All these foreigners, you got the Dominicans, you got the Salvadorians, you got this, you got that. And they all come to this country and they want to corrupt all the Americans with what? Drugs.
Yeah. And
that's what they do, and that's what they live off of. They live off the Americans that are buying the drugs. And what happens is all the Americans are all corrupted and they're all down and out and all these other people are up and they all got the nice cars, they got the BMWs, they got the Mercedes.
Yeah, but that's the drug dealers.
That's the cartel.
Right. But, there are a lot of, I'd say the greatest majority of them are hard workers, to go out and work.
I'm not aiming in on any particular
ethnic group.
What I'm trying to say is that these countries that they come in from is where the things come in from. And you know as well as I do, you've been around the block quite a bit. And you know exactly that you're never going to stop the situation because there's too many people with their hands in the till.
Yeah.
And there's too much of a payoff and the butter it and put it underneath it just goes on and on.
Too much money involved, that's correct.
It's never going to stop. It's not going to stop. The only thing that's going to happen is it's going to self-destruct people. Yeah. And that's what happens. You get into a problem, and these people, and I know people, that their attitudes change, they get they get addicted, and that's all they're thriving for. They forget what they're saying, they don't know why they're saying it or who they're saying it to, and it becomes a problem. But
you said something very important just a short while back about somebody bringing them into their fold, and when they're on drugs themselves, and that's what they want to do. They want to bring them into their miserable fold.
Absolutely. Misery enjoys company. Jealousy. There's a lot of things in this world that there's just things that should be liquidated. The word jealousy, I hate the word sorry. I hate that word sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I never said sorry in my life.
Well,
because I never had to say I'm sorry because I'm not sorry. If I do something, I mean it. Mean what you say what you mean, and have some integrity. There's 3 things like Kurt Angle in the wrestling world: integrity, intensity.
Well, my opening statement is to young people when I talk to them and lecture them on drugs. It's character, integrity, and loyalty to your family first.
Yeah,
That's the
family's
stuff.
good too, but you know, sometimes
Oh,
you know,
that-
family can be the worst too.
Oh, I understand that, but I'm just
A lot of
saying.
jealous people
Yeah,
are jealous of this
Well,
and that, this one, that. It's
well,
just ridiculous.
jealousy and envy
They should
is-
be glad, basically, that they still got a family.
Yeah,
Because people that are alone,
yeah,
they realize and they can relate to it. But you know, sometimes
yeah.
people don't understand the benefit of having the. I say it's a benefit, or sometimes I say it's a. You know, it's not a commodity, but it's something that you know they should cherish because it's not going to be around forever.
Yeah.
Why
Yeah.
be arguing, yelling,
Yeah.
screaming, and?
Well, jealousy and envy, to me, is a social cancer in
Oh
itself.
yeah, oh yeah.
You
I
know?
love to plant the seed, though. I'm a seed planter. I like to get I like to get the barrel going. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I like to plant seeds because there's so many stupid people out there. They don't even understand what you're doing.
It's
You figure
real-
them out.
It's really sad that they prey on these young people. That's what bothers me. That's where they look to make their money, on the street. The cowboys on the street selling their drugs to the younger people. They're getting younger and younger and younger. They're down into the grade schools. They know, some of those kids in the 6th, 7th grade know
Oh, yeah.
more than their parents do. I tell them that all the
My
time.
mother used to say to me, life is what you make it.
Yeah.
Life is what you make it. You want to be miserable, you're going to be miserable. You
Yeah.
want to be motivated, you want to, you want to
Yeah.
move your bones, you want to, you got to be motivated. I mean,
Yeah.
everyone wakes up with a depressing day every now and then.
Yeah,
I do,
of
you
course.
do, everybody
Look at
does.
this weather now.
You know, I mean, we thought we got one good day. We get the summer.
Yeah.
You know, we just come back from the Caribbean. We just left the girls back at the waiting for us at the bar down there. You know, we're hipping and a hoping here. You know what I'm saying? And when we get some sun, we're gonna have some fun.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
getting back to the situation with any town, it's where your kids go. And then you can call them and check in with them. They can still be right there, sitting there with
Yeah.
doing whatever they're doing. Yeah, Mom, over here, I'm okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, forget about it. Once a liar, always a liar. That's the way I look at it.
I
If
agree
you've
with
never
you.
been trusted, you can't be trusted.
Exactly. Your word's got to be your bond.
I got two things in this world.
Your
my
name
word,
and your name.
and I don't break them for nobody. But basically,
Yeah.
I've grown up in Revere. I grew up on Shirley Ave. I've seen the stages of
Yeah.
it go through. I've seen the times. I've seen it go from a Jewish neighborhood to a Cambodian neighborhood to whatever. Now it's a lot of Spanish movement in. But you know something? Basically, I'm not about putting any minority down. But I'm just saying, when I was getting back to it was the beginning. You know, the Colombians and the Salvadorians. This is where this stuff's coming from.
Well, that's where the cocoa leaves are grown.
That's where the
In the Andes, that's the whole world.
and basically that's
That's the base of.
and they're
of-
corrupting
of
the country, and you know
cocaine.
what? And the rich are getting richer, the poor are getting poorer, and the
Yeah.
stupider are getting stupider, because basically all they end up with is a deviated septum. You know, you do one thing and you do another. I mean,
Yeah.
and you get sick, and then
Yeah.
you get up in the hospital, and you don't know why you're in the hospital, but, you know, maybe a bell will go off in your head sooner or later and say, well, you know something? Maybe I'm doing something to my body that I shouldn't be doing.
Well, anytime you put anything foreign into your body, you're doing the wrong thing.
Well, I like
That's
a
the
little
start off.
raviolis and gabagool, a little
Yeah, well,
mortadella.
we all like that.
You know, I'm dying for a good
Yeah.
sauce, but you know something? I haven't had sauce for a while because I blew that too.
Yeah. Tell me some, getting off that part there for a while. I could go on for hours and hours and days on drugs.
Well, let's just say
But I
no
want-
drugs. That's all.
Yeah.
And that's the best thing you can do.
Well,
These young
that's
kids,
why-
anyways. I mean, a grown-up knows the choices that they make, or they're not considered
Yeah.
a grown-up.
I created-
But I mean, like you
yeah.
say, with kids,
Yeah.
kids need to be directed a little bit.
Yeah.
But if you got your parents, you're in a household where your parents are corrupt, then you're going to be corrupt.
Yeah. Believe me, I created that saying in 1968, and I have followed those words since then, okay? So, and anybody that indulges in drugs is a loser. They can never win. They'll never be a winner. It's as simple as that.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
You know, and I tell them that when I talk to them, and I tell them, you know, when you get a person that is in trouble, put your hand out and draw them back in. You just said something. The parents call, and they don't know what they're doing. Guilty by association.
That's
Remember
it.
that.
Oh, that's a good one.
Wow, that's...
Oh yeah, you're
there's
driving
no-
around with someone. And
I
they're
tell
doing
them that
something
all
wrong.
the time.
You're going to be, yeah, but some
When you
people,
got a bad apple, you try to pull him into the good thing. There can be like 10 good kids there, and there's one bad guy, and he's going to be labeled right
and you
off
can
the
still
bat.
be a good kid, but just taking a ride too. But
Oh,
you're still
yeah.
going to get popped.
Exactly. Now, let me put it in reverse. There's 9 bad kids and 1 good kid.
Now,
That one
girls
kid-
supposed to be more mature than guys. They
without a
always say
question.
girls are smarter than guys, but
No question in my mind.
but
No
it doesn't
question in
happen
my-
on every occasion.
Not on every occasion, but let me tell you, they
Yeah.
usually are 3 or 4 years ahead of a guy. Growing
Yeah.
up, when they're young, to start off with.
You mean in the dinero department?
Tell me about some of the places you've traveled to in your career, you know, when you were wrestling.
Well, you know, I was very, very lucky to travel with the wrestling because there are probably some parts of the world I probably would never have got to see if I wasn't wrestling. I've been to Canada, Puerto Rico. I wrestled in South America for a couple of weeks, Venezuela, Caracas. During the times when it wasn't really good to go over there, I went over there with Chief J. Strongbow and those guys, and basically what happened was that it wasn't a great time to go over there, but I got to travel throughout everywhere in New England, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, New Jersey. Florida was my favorite because it was warm down there, of course. And, you know, I like the beach, and, well, I don't like Revere Beach anymore because we've got to get a petition about Revere Beach, too. Is there anything to do about Revere Beach at nighttime? Where people can walk there civilly again?
You're talking
we
about...
get a couple of officers to walk like Mickey used to walk. Walk the walk and talk the talk.
Well, they better get back to that.
Yeah.
Visibility. But
Yeah.
another thing I want to know, what was your favorite place to wrestle?
Florida, I have to say, because I went down there in 1983. I was just, well, actually, I ran down to Florida after the girl I was staying. I was dating an English girl, and she moved down there, and basically I went down there and gave it a whirl, if you will, down there in Florida. And at the time, 1983 was pretty well of a hotbed for professional wrestling because you had Dusty Rhodes, the American Dream, was down there. The NWA champion was Ric Flair, and they had some of the great basic guys that were there. And being the nice weather that it was, I got to see Florida and live in Florida for 9-10 months, and then I got homesick because, of course, my mother was home. So I had to come home.
Yeah.
And my kid was up here, basically, when I came back. And and once you have a kid, you can't travel as much in the professional wrestling, like, you know, I mean, at least I didn't. I mean, I could have, I guess, but it's not like it was. 83 was a year when no one from New England went down and wrestled in the NWA. I wrestled the Real Kangaroos, Al Costello and Don Kent, such guys were down there as Les Thornton. These are real wrestlers, not these Mickey Mouse guys that are in the wrestling business today. Like, you know, everyone wants to be a wrestler and a wrestling promoter. You got every name. You got you got these NWEs, NWOs, Ring Dings. You got Ring Ding Juniors. You got all these other things. Most of these things I don't want to get into it, but. You got to watch out where these kids go because there's a lot of weird things on TV, these chat rooms and all these other things, and they make all these kids do these things, and they think that it's all right to do this and that, but it's not all right. You're a guy or you're a girl. Get your agenda down, and then you can go on with your life. Because basically in this world, there's a lot of bad things out there, and drugs are one of them.
Yeah.
You know, these things that, you know, these kids that, you know, like get done to them by certain people in the religious background. It's a crazy world out there. You know, it's crazy. You just got to watch yourself.
Well, you got to have, they got to identify one thing. They got to have their own identity. That's to start off with. If you don't have your identity, you know, we're kind of running short here, and I know you got a program going, and I want you to tell us about it. Saugus YMCA, what's going to go on. I know you do charity things for handicapped kids and everything.
Say yellow out there, my friend Robbie and all those guys out there.
Yeah.
And,
Joanne Stack's kids, I know you took care of them.
Yeah, we
you
go down there. Joanne.
Tell us about the Saugus YMCA.
Okay, cameraman, zoom in back there because it's April 24th. It's at the Family Saugus YMCA. We're going to have a great family wrestling show. None of this, none of that. No chairs, no blood, none of that stuff that you see. A family-oriented show. You're going to see WCW, former star Rick Fuller. You're going to see the world-famous Wrestling Cloud. You're going to see me, B, often imitated but never duplicated here in Revere. Remember that. There's only one Rocky Raymond in Revere, and you're looking right at him. So come on down to the Y. It's going to be Fan Fest at 7 p.m. 298 Main Street, go up Route 1, take the Main Street exit, go around, go by the KFC, get up the hill, and you'll have professional wrestling at its finest. Plus, you get to take a picture with me. Why don't you come down? You can take some pictures with me.
I will be down.
And one more thing, quickly. These things here, these are wrestling belts. That's the only New England title. It's not a replica belt like these guys got belts, copy belts of this here. These are only things that, this is my character. These are, me and Tony Rumble used to wear the Boston Bad Boy glasses. We used to use the collars and all that stuff. But this stuff, the gauntlets, these are only things as a character. These kids that go around, don't be beating up your sister, grabbing your sister, you know, grabbing your neck, because you can get hurt. Professional wrestling is a very dangerous sport. Leave it to the professionals and try to just, you know, watch it and consume it for what it is. And don't try to do these things to some of the things, because they get hurt. These kids, they go home and they're twisting each other around, you know?
Again, very slowly, I want you to tell them the time, the place, and where it is
Okay.
in Saugus.
All right.
Very slow.
Let me put my gimmick on. I can do it better with my gimmick.
Okay, no
If
problem.
I get my
No-
gimmick on, I become a different person. That's what they
Yeah,
say.
you sure do.
All right, it's going to be Saugus, April 24th, 7:30 p.m. is the Fan Fest. So be there or be square. Come back and see Mikey Casoli because, and remember, say no to drugs. All you punks out there, you're going to get pumped out by me and Mickey if we catch you hipping and dripping. Okay? Remember that. Say no to drugs here in Revere. More hugs, less drugs. It'll keep you down roads where you don't want to be, keep you there longer than you don't want to stay, and it'll string you out and keep you about.
Where is the location and the time?
Saugus YMCA, go up to Route 1, take the Main Street exit, swing around, don't be a clown, don't even frown. Get your ticket, and I'll be around right there, okay? So you come, I want you to come to the show that night, because I might want to, I want to see if you...